back to Davin Biology. So the reason why you click on this video is because you want to know how to answer for this year's SPM Bio Amali, right? Okay, so let's not waste any time and straight away get into it. So, however, in this video, I only will focus on one experiment, which is Form 4 Chapter 9, the energy value experiment. Now, for BM version, I actually do a separate video here, so you can click the link up here. So for this one will be English lah, BM version is this one lah. Now, so the answers for all the questions that we're going through here will be inside a PDF in a link below the description. You can go click and download yourself. So what I'll be going through are mainly briefly how we will do the experiment lah. But this one should be quite easy. But the main thing is how to answer the questions. That's where you score marks, right? Like procedure, hypothesis, operational definition, inference, and so on. Yeah, so for past 2 years SPM, right, already for Bio Amali, already came out, what's it called? Guided, means they give you procedure, you don't have to write procedure. However, yeah, since 2 years in a row they came out unguided, which means this year there's a chance it will come out procedure. So I'll teach you all how to write. It's very simple only. Okay, now if you don't know what this experiment about, how to do this experiment, right? Okay, basically is to identify, investigate energy value in different food content. Okay, so the two foods that we have for this particular example experiment here, right, is wheat crackers and cashew nut. So before you do the experiment, right, it's best to know like which food have higher energy value, so that when you done your experiment already, at least you know what to expect. At least you know when you do wrong already, you have time to repeat the experiment. Okay, so for cashew nuts, definitely it will have more energy than wheat. If you're wondering why, it's because of it has more oil, more fat, more lipid. So like those kind of the explanation, right, for all the questions in this experiment, right, is mainly you're going to say why this one got more energy, because more lipid. So wheat crackers, the opposite, are lesser lipid content, because wheat mainly is made of carbohydrates, right? So they have lesser energy compared to lipid. Yeah, oil definitely have more energy. Right? That's why when you burn oil, the fire is very big because there's a lot of energy being released from it. Alright, so straight away, now basically how do you set up this experiment? You can follow the diagram here, as you can see, which not too hard to understand, right? Okay, but remember, when you burn the peanut that time, you don't go and take the Bunsen burner and burn like that. You must put the Bunsen burner here, don't lift the Bunsen burner, and then take your foot, put at the fire here. And then only when it's burning already, then only you place it under the boiling tube. Now, then what you're going to do next is you're going to wait until your food completely burn until you become black color, ash, nothing left already. Okay, then only you record the final temperature of your water. So because the energy release, the heat energy released by the food is equivalent to the energy of the food. So the heat energy will be absorbed by the water. So how do you calculate the energy being absorbed by the water? Is basically like the physics lah, the formula here. Q equals mc theta, whereby M stands for mass of food, C is same, heat capacitive water 4.2 times the temperature change divided by mass of food times 1000. Now actually we are dividing 1000 because we want to convert the joule to kilojoule, and then we divide the mass of food because you want to find out per gram of food got how much energy. So your unit is kilojoule per gram lah, which later I will show you all. Okay, so first things first. First question usually they like to ask procedure. So procedure, 4 marks only, which means you only need 4 points, four sentences to get these 4 marks. So number 1, they say method to handle variables, which of course you have 3 variables, and plus 1 precautionary step. Now before you do any experiment, you also must know the variables beforehand, which is why? Because so that you know what you're doing. Basically, you know what the experiment is about, right? At least you have a direction. So as you can see, a manipulated variable will be type of food sample. So you want to test different food got what kind of and how much energy. Okay, responding variable is the responding variable of the experiment. So don't say energy value of food, say the final temperature of distilled water. Because remember, responding variable is what do you record at the end of the experiment? What do you get at the end of the experiment? So I get the final temperature. So that is the thing. And constant, there's a few. You can say volume of distilled water and also mass of food sample. Alright, now, before I start, I almost forgot one thing. There's some experiment I see before, right? Another variation of this experiment is, right, they use 2 different kind of nut, peanut and cashew nut. For this one cashew nut will have more energy. So just memorize the answer lah. So you should get, this one got more heat release, more heat energy, because same thing cashew have more lipid compared to peanut. Alright, so once you know the variables already, Okay, then you can basically start writing your procedure. Now, however, right, method to handle variables is not just writing the variables inside your procedure. No. Okay, what do you mean by method to handle? Okay, come and show you. So first, I start by saying fill the boiling tube with 20 ml of distilled water. So distilled water, volume of distilled water is my constant, right? So how do you handle this constant variable? You must mention how much. What's the value? 20 ml. Sometimes question will give you this, but if they didn't give you boiling tube, you own self go and judge lah. There's not much water you can put inside, also 20, 30 maximum. Yeah, so for constant variable, you must mention the value of the constant. Then here, 1 mark for constant. Okay, next, I say spike 5 grams of cashew nut at the end of the pin, which is mounted onto some plasticine. Now, this will be manipulated variable because your type of food sample, there are 2 food, right? You have the cashew nut and the wheat cracker. So if you mention the cashew nut, the wheat cracker, that's your manipulated variable. Okay, however, here only I mentioned cashew nut because later I got to repeat the experiment using different food. So I mentioned cashew nut first. Okay, then here's just a general step whereby I say ignite the peanut, means I burn the peanut. Just now I say use the Bunsen burner to burn it. Using a Bunsen burner, then immediately place it beneath the boiling tube to heat the water. Okay. Oh, I almost forget one thing also, which is this part here must help me add one more and record the initial temperature. Yeah, because you got the final minus initial, right? So you got to record initial temperature here. Then after that, now these 2 is your precautionary step. I give you 2 precautionary steps lah. Number 1, most of us should know one. We use a heat-resistant barrier, like we use a shield like that to surround your apparatus setup. Okay, so this thing, right? If you cannot remember, right, don't worry. Like usually your list of apparatus materials they will give you one. They'll say barrier, so you can just follow the word. Use a barrier. Place a barrier around your apparatus to reduce heat loss to surrounding. Because if you don't put the heat barrier, there will be heat loss and then your result won't be as accurate already. And then the second precaution step is make sure your food is completely burnt. Like I say, you must burn until holding black color, no more food left already. So once it's completely burnt, then we measure and record the final temperature of distilled water using thermometer. So this is responding variable point. Which, how do you get responding variable? You must say measure and record the final temperature. What apparatus you use? We use a thermometer. So these 2 are the keywords. You're done already. You got 1 more foot, right? So you got to repeat all the steps using 5 grams of wheat cracker. So if you mention wheat cracker, you mention cashew nut, then only you get your manipulated variable. So these are the 3 variables plus the precautionary step. 4 marks, easy. Okay, so like you just have to write these 4 things and then you just try to add in 1 or 2 steps regarding how you set up this thing, which is not too important actually. Like the main thing is the 4 steps, remember. Okay, procedure done. Next, so usually they will start with observation. So they say, state your observation of the temperature of distilled water when the cashew nut is completely burnt. So you can see this is the table of results. Of course, this table will be empty one lah in your exam. I already filled it up for you because as I show you the example lah. Okay, so all this will be empty. Or maybe they give you mass of food, but the rest you got to do yourself. Okay, so yeah, I mean you got to record your own temperature, initial, final, count yourself. Later I'll show you. And then volume of distilled water, usually we fix it 20, 30 lah. Now, observation of cashew nut. So cashew nuts, right? So after you burn it already, right? Now what do I observe? A lot of you say, oh, the temperature increased. The temperature is higher than the wheat cracker. The temperature is the highest. Now these are not observation. These are inference already. This you are putting in your input. You're explaining already. So observation is write what you see. So I see 80 degrees. So temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. So you must say the final temperature when cashew nut is completely burnt is 80. So you must write the value of your RV. Must be always there. And also MV. What am I saying? RV. And possible, if possible, also you must include your MV there. So the MV is how much? The cashew nut final temperature is 80 degrees. Okay, then explain your observation, then only we sort of explain. Okay, we explain like that. You see, 80 is higher than 60. I mean, compared to wheat cracker, meaning there's more energy. Right? So I say, look, the reason that temperature is higher because there's higher energy value than wheat crackers. 2 marks, right? So got one more to explain why. So we already say in the beginning, right? The reason why a food here have more energy than another is mainly because of the lipid content. Question won't test you on other things, they just test lipid. So the answer is always just say more lipid. Next, hypothesis. Now for this experiment, the hypothesis is a bit different than our conventional, traditional hypothesis. Usually hypothesis will say, right, higher the MV, higher the R rate. Or Chinese you say 越什么东西越高，什么东西越高，对不对？ But for this one, you cannot write like that. Because for this experiment, the MV has no unit, no value. It's type of food sample. Like that kind, you're going to say higher the food sample, higher the temperature. So for this kind of experiment, you got to straight away guess the outcome of the experiment. Mention the outcome of the experiment, which is, I say, cashew nut has higher final temperature than wheat cracker. The outcome of the end of the experiment is higher final temperature. Why? Because higher energy value. I give you one more explanation, due to higher lipid content. It's like the same as this. Easy. So whenever they ask you to explain something in this experiment, it's just more energy, more lipid. Easy as that. Next. Okay, record your results. So of course this one in experiment you do yourself lah. Everybody's different one. Don't go copy mine. Don't go memorize mine. Okay, then the calculation. Mass of water times 4.2 times temperature change. So okay, I do one example for you. So for let's say wheat crackers. So mass of water is always mass of the mass here, right? Don't take mass of food because you are calculating how much energy is absorbed by the water. You want to know how much energy caused the water to increase that certain amount of temperature. So it's like physics like that. So don't take mass of food. So your mass always must be water. So remember 1 ml equals to 1 gram. So here is 20. Okay, then 4.2 fixed. Temperature change 60 minus 25, 35. And then divided by mass of food, 5 gram times 1000. So you get 0.588 kilojoule per gram. If they didn't give you the unit, that is the unit, kilojoule per gram. So this is kilojoule, this is per gram. Okay? And then this one, I don't think I will go through, it's just very simple. So sometimes they might ask like this kind of, useless kind of question just to fill in the marks only lah. Yeah, so classify the food according to the food class. So this one no problem, go through yourself. And then, prediction question. So prediction question is, they will ask you to repeat the experiment, but you don't have to repeat. So they say you repeat the experiment, but now I use like something that's slightly different than what you did just now. So I use wheat cracker again, but I spread with butter. So if you put butter on wheat cracker, then they say they burn the food, predict the energy value. Of course, the energy value will be way higher lah, because you got two different food mah, right? So don't go say, oh, energy will increase, energy will be more. You must say higher than what you calculated just now, 0.588 kilojoule per gram. Yeah, so how do you answer prediction question is you must compare to your experiment and then say, is it higher or lower than? So this is what I calculated just now. So definitely I put butter will be more than 588. So you must say more than 588, 0.588 kilojoules per gram. Explanation is because, same as just now, butter got lipid release more heat energy when burnt. That's it. That's why I got more energy. And finally, all the questions that a lot of you will be asking, teacher, how to do this, operational definition. Okay, first off, operational definition in bio is not a very common question in the new syllabus. Old syllabus last time is compulsory, you ask one. Excuse me. So in the new syllabus, right, usually it's just chemistry they will ask. Yeah, so for bio, okay, let's say if they ask it's only 2 marks only. Now how to get these 2 marks? First point is like the definition of the energy based on the experiment and based on theory you mix together like that. Okay, so I say here, energy value is the is the heat released by food sample when it's completely burnt. Okay, now I know this point is slightly hard to get sometimes, so this one you just try your best. Try to relate the experiment to the theory definition, and then try to combine together. So I would say energy of the food is the heat release of the food when burnt. Okay, if this one you really cannot, never mind. The next two is they're very easy. I say shown by final temperature of food sample, which is your responding basically, affected by type of food, MV. So the second and third, you definitely cannot get it wrong. Just copy from your experiment only. Shown by responding variable, which is affected by manipulated variable. I mean, every experiment, RV is affected by MV. Right? So that is how you do operational definition. Before I end this video, just a quick tip when you do Amali. When you doing your experiment, right? Okay, like for example, when you burn your food, you need to wait for the food to burn. Now don't just sit there and wait. You can try to go through the questions first. Try to do first, save time. Because you might not know what will happen during your experiment. You might do something wrong, you need to repeat and all. Yeah, so try to do the questions first. Because a lot of questions, right? Like you can see, you don't need the experiment data to do. You need your brains to do. So yeah, just try to answer the question first. Then only you, then when you finish the thing already, then only you do continue the experiment. Alright, so good luck for your Amali. And before your SPM, I might do 1 or 2 state paper. I'll come out at least one state paper video I will go through with you all. Okay, maybe you can suggest which state paper that you think is harder, you want me to go through with you all. You can let me know in the comments. Yeah, so good luck. See you guys. Bye bye.